Ambassador Lee Hanna walked slowly through the long, bright hallways of the Galactic Council station. Her black shoes made soft sounds on the smooth metal floor. The walls around her were made of something that looked like crystal, and they showed moving pictures of stars and planets from across the galaxy. She had been waiting for 3 hours. 3 long hours to hear if Earth would stay in the Galactic Federation or be thrown out forever. Her hands were sweating inside her formal blue uniform. She knew this meeting would change everything for her home planet. The big doors opened with a quiet hiss. Inside, the council chamber was huge. Hundreds of alien beings sat in floating chairs that moved slowly around a glowing center stage. Some aliens looked like giant insects with too many arms. Others were tall and thin with purple skin. A few were just balls of light that spoke through machines. Ambassador Lee Hanna of Earth called a voice that sounded like metal scraping against stone. "Please step forward." Hanna walked to the center. All around her, alien eyes and sensors turned to look at her. She felt very small and very alone. Above her head, a screen showed Earth, her beautiful blue and green planet, spinning slowly in space. Counselor Vexstar spoke first. He was from the Hegemony, one of the most powerful alien races. His body looked like a giant octopus, but he wore golden robes and had intelligent red eyes. When he talked, his 8 arms moved like he was conducting music. "For 50 Earth years, your species has been part of our great federation," he said. His voice was cold. "We welcomed you. We shared our science. We let you travel between the stars." Hanna nodded. "Yes, and we are grateful for," but Vexstar continued, cutting her off. "Humans refuse to grow. You will not accept the genetic changes that would make you better. You stay wild and dangerous." Another alien stood up. This one was tall and thin with skin like silver metal. "Every other race in the Federation has improved themselves. We removed anger from the Corellians. We made the Bendari more logical. We gave the Thetans longer lives and peaceful hearts. You ask us to change what makes us human," Hanna said, trying to keep her voice steady. "We cannot do that. Cannot or will not," asked a third alien, this one looking like a walking tree, with glowing sap for blood. "Both," Hanna replied. She knew this was the wrong answer, but it was the only honest one. The voting began. On the giant screen above, names of alien races appeared one by one. Next to each name came a symbol, red for remove Earth, or green for let Earth stay. Hanna watched as red symbols filled the screen. Red, red, red. Not one green symbol appeared. Her heart sank lower with each vote. The Hegemony, red. The Silver Collective, red. The Tree Kingdoms, red. Even races that Earth had helped in the past voted red. When the last vote came in, the screen showed the final count. 847 red, 0 green. "The decision is final," Vexstar announced. His tentacles waved in what Hanna had learned was satisfaction. "Earth is expelled from the Galactic Federation. You have 6 months to stop all travel between stars. All human colonies must return to Earth. All trade agreements end today." "And if we refuse?" Hanna asked, though she already knew the answer. "Then we will make you comply," said the silver alien. "Our fleets are already moving to positions around your solar system. Do not test our patience." Hanna straightened her shoulders. "I will take your message to my government." "Good," Vexter said. "Perhaps when humans learn they cannot survive alone, you will accept our generous offer to improve your species." As Hanna turned to leave, she heard whispers from the Alien Council members. Some sounded happy, others seemed worried. A few actually sounded sad. But not one of them had voted to help Earth. She walked back through the crystal hallways, but now they felt cold and unwelcoming. Her ship, the New Soul, was waiting in the docking bay. The crew could tell from her face that the news was bad. "Ma'am?" asked her pilot, Lieutenant Park Sun-ho, as she strapped into her seat. "Take us home," she said quietly. As fast as this ship can go. As the new soul jumped into hyperspace, racing toward Earth with the terrible news, Hannah looked out the window, at the stars. Somewhere out there, Federation fleets were already moving. Ships with weapons that could destroy planets were heading toward her home. But something burned in her chest, not fear, but anger. And maybe, just maybe, that anger was exactly what the aliens were afraid of. The galaxy had made its choice. Now humanity would make theirs. President Kim Ji-won stood in the emergency meeting room deep under Seoul. The concrete walls were thick and cold. Around the long tables sat Earth's most important leaders, generals, scientists, and ministers from every continent. Their faces looked tired and worried. The alien technology stopped working this morning, reported Dr. Yoon Nari, pushing her thick glasses up her nose. All of it. Communication devices, power generators, medical equipment, everything they gave us is now just expensive metal. General Park Min-ho spread a map of Earth's colonies across the table. Red X marks covered most of the dots that showed human settlements on other planets. We lost contact with Mars colony 3 hours ago. The moon bases are running on emergency power only. Kim Ji-won looked at the reports piling up on his desk. Food riots in Tokyo, power blackouts across Europe. The stock markets had crashed so hard that trading stopped completely. People were scared, and scared people did dangerous things. "How long do we have?" he asked. 6 months, said Ambassador Lee Hannah, who had just returned from the Alien Council. Her voice was hoarse from explaining the same terrible news over and over. "Then their fleets will force us to obey." Outside the meeting room, protesters filled the streets of every major city. Some carried signs that said "Surrender now" and "Save our children." Others held signs, reading "Humans first" and "Never give up." The crowds pushed against each other, and police struggled to keep them apart. Kim Gi-won made his choice. He walked to the cameras and spoke to the world. "My fellow humans," he began, looking straight into the lens. "The galaxy wants us to change who we are. They want to alter our minds, our hearts, our very souls. They say this will make us better. I say, it will make us slaves." He paused, letting his words sink in. Across Earth, people stopped their arguing to listen. "We will not bow, we will not break. We will remain human, whatever the cost." In the weeks that followed, Earth became a planet at war with itself and time. General Park Min-ho moved his headquarters to an old mine in Colorado. There hundreds of the world's smartest people worked day and night under artificial lights. Dr. Yunari led a team of scientists who took apart every piece of alien technology they could find. "Look at this," she said to her assistant, Dr. Lee Kungmin, pointing at the inside of an alien computer. "They build everything the same way. Same patterns, same methods. They think alike because they made themselves think alike." "What does that mean?" Kungmin asked. "It means they cannot imagine solutions we might find." Nari smiled for the first time in weeks. "Their perfection is their weakness." Commander Choi Daeon supervised the mining ships that flew to the asteroid belt. The rocks there contained metals Earth needed for weapons and ships. The work was dangerous. 3 ships had already been lost to accidents, but the miners kept going. "We need more titanium," she reported to General Park. "And the quantum field. Experiments are using up all our rare elements." "What exactly are they doing with those experiments?" Park asked. Daeon shrugged. "Dr. Nari says it is better if we do not know yet. Something about bending space itself." In secret labs around the world, other teams worked on different projects. Some built new ships from old designs, using human engineering instead of alien technology. Others developed weapons that worked in ways the aliens had never seen before. A few studied the alien DNA samples they had collected over the years, looking for weaknesses. But not everyone supported the government's choice. In New York, a group called the Survival Committee held rallies demanding surrender. "Our children will die for one man's pride," shouted their leader into a microphone. "The aliens offer us a better life. Why do we refuse?" In response, another group called the Human Defense League formed to support the resistance. They helped move supplies to the secret military bases and kept watch for alien spies. 3 months passed. Earth's space defenses grew stronger each day, but they were still weak compared to alien fleets. The mining ships brought back enough material to build a few hundred small fighters and some defensive stations around the moon. Dr. Yunari made a breakthrough that changed everything. She called General Park to her lab in the middle of the night. "Sir, you need to see this," she said, pointing at a strange machine that hummed with blue energy. "We found something the aliens missed. Humans process quantum fields differently than any other known species." "What does that mean in simple words?" Park asked. "It means we can do things with space and time that should be impossible," Nari explained. "The aliens bred this ability out of themselves thousands of years ago. They thought it was too dangerous." Park stared at the machine. "Dangerous? How?" "We could collapse their hyperspace routes, cut off their entire empire." Naris's eyes gleamed with excitement and fear, but the process would be like setting off a bomb in the fabric of space itself. As the 4th month began, Earth's preparations continued. The planet was ready to fight, but everyone knew the aliens had ships that could destroy entire worlds. The galaxy had turned its back on humanity. Now humanity would show them what that meant. Admiral Corvin Nex floated in his command chair aboard the massive warship, Eternal Order. The bridge around him was perfectly clean and white, with hundreds of screens showing the positions of his fleet. 3,000 ships moved through space, like a deadly cloud, heading toward the small blue planet that dared to defy the galaxy. "How long until we reach Earth?" he asked his navigation officer, a tall alien with 4 arms and silver skin. 2 hours, Admiral," came the reply. "Their primitive sensors will detect us soon." Corvin looked at the reports on his screen. Earth had built some defensive stations around their moon, and they had a few hundred small ships. Against his fleet, they would last maybe 10 minutes. He almost felt sorry for the humans. "Send a message to all ship commanders," he ordered. "Minimal force only. We want to disable their defenses, not destroy their planet. The Council wants them alive, so they can be properly modified." On Earth, Captain Lim Woojin sat in the pilot seat of his ship, the Busan Runner. It had been a cargo freighter just 6 months ago, carrying food and supplies between Earth's colonies. Now it was covered with armor plates and had 2 missile launchers bolted to its sides. The work had been done fast and cheap, and Woojin could hear the engines making sounds they were not supposed to make. "All human ships, this is Luna Defense Command," came the voice over his radio. "Alien fleet detected. 3,000 ships. Incoming. All defensive units move to positions." Woojin looked around at his crew. His gunner was Lee Mingi, a young woman who had been studying music before the crisis started. His engineer was old Park Sang-ho, who had worked on cargo ships for 30 years. None of them were real soldiers, but they were all that Earth had. "Well," Woojin said, trying to sound brave, "let's show these aliens what humans can do." The first alien ships appeared like silver dots against the black of space. Then more dots. Then so many that they looked like a metal storm moving toward Earth. Human fighters launched from hidden bases on the moon and from space stations that had been built in secret. Lieutenant Han Sayong leads Squadron 12 in her fighter Soul's pride. She had been a test pilot before the war, one of the best Earth had ever produced. Now, she flew a ship that was held together with spare parts and prayers. "Remember the plan," she spoke into her radio to the other pilots following her. "Hit and run. Don't try to fight them one-on-one. We're faster and smaller. Use that." The first shots lit up the darkness. Alien energy beams, perfect and precise, reached out toward the human ships. Most missed. The aliens expected their enemies to fly in straight lines and follow rules, but human pilots flew like they were crazy. spinning and diving in ways that made no sense. Woojin pushed his cargo ship into a steep dive toward the alien flagship. Warning lights flashed all around him as enemy fire passed close by. His ship shook like it might fall apart, but he kept flying straight at the massive alien vessel. "Captain, what are you doing?" shouted Ningi from her gunner position. "Something stupid," Woojin replied. He armed all of his missiles and pointed his ship directly at the alien shield generators. "If we're going to die, let's make it count." The Busan runner slammed into the alien flagship's shields at full speed. The explosion was bright enough to see from Earth. It tore a hole in the alien defenses and damaged 3 of their weapon systems. But Woojin and his crew were gone. Admiral Corvin stared at his screens in shock. What did they just do? The cargo ship rammed us, sir, reported his tactical officer. Direct suicide attack. Impossible. No civilized species would waste lives like that. More human ships were doing the same thing. Old mining vessels loaded with explosives flew straight at alien cruisers. Fighter pilots whose weapons ran out of ammunition used their ships as missiles. It was insane and desperate and completely effective. Han Suyong led her squadron in weaving attacks around the alien formations. Her pilots flew converted civilian ships, passenger shuttles, construction pods, even a few old racing ships. They should have been destroyed in seconds, but they moved in patterns the aliens could not predict. "Blue Leader, this is Red 7, came a voice over her radio. "I'm out of missiles and my engines are failing. Get out of there, Red 7, Si Wei-Ang ordered. "Negative, Blue Leader. I see a target." The pilot, a young man named Kim Gin-ho, aimed his damaged ship at an alien destroyer. "Tell my family I did my duty." The destroyer's shields flared and went down as Gin-ho's ship exploded against them. The battle raged for 3 days. Human ships kept coming, not just military vessels, but civilian craft crewed by volunteers, farmers and cargo haulers, teachers flying passenger shuttles, even teenagers who had stolen racing ships to join the fight. Each human ship that died took alien vessels with them. The perfect alien formations broke apart as commanders tried to deal with enemies that fought without any sense of self-preservation. On the 3rd day, Admiral Corvin made a decision that shocked his own officers. "Signal the retreat," he ordered. "Sir," his navigation officer asked. "We still outnumber them 10-1. Corvin looked at his casualty reports. He had lost 400 ships to an enemy that should have been crushed in minutes. "Signal the retreat. We need to rethink our strategy." Earth had survived its first test, but everyone knew this was just the beginning. Dr. Yoon Nari stood in front of a machine that looked like it came from a nightmare. Cables and metal tubes twisted around a glowing blue core that hummed with dangerous energy. The air around it felt thick and electric, making the hair on her arms stand up. "This is it," she said to the small group of military leaders gathered in the underground lab. "Our quantum disruptor. It can collapse hyperspace routes across half the galaxy." General Park Min-ho stepped closer, but not too close. The machine made him nervous. "How does it work?" "Think of hyperspace like a river," Nari explained, using simple words. "Ships travel along this river to move between stars quickly. Our weapon is like a dam. It blocks the river and makes it overflow its banks." President Kim Gi-won looked worried. "What happens to the ships already traveling in hyperspace when this goes off?" Nari was quiet for a moment. "They get trapped between normal space and hyperspace. Some might survive, most will not." "How many ships are we talking about?" Kim asked. "Thousands," Nari admitted. "Maybe tens of thousands." The room fell silent. Everyone understood what this meant. They were planning to kill many aliens to save Earth. Captain Otayuk stepped forward. He was a quiet man, with steady hands and sad eyes. "Where does this weapon need to go?" "The Galactic Core." Nari pointed to a star map on the wall. "There is a hyperspace nexus there, like the heart of the river system. If we can get the disruptor there and activate it, the effects will spread across the galaxy. How far is that? Tayuk asked. 18 months of travel, even in our fastest ship, General Park replied. And the area is heavily defended by alien fleets. Tayuk nodded slowly. So whoever goes does not come back. No, Park said simply. They do not come back. While the scientists prepared their terrible weapon, Commander Co Minji was already fighting the aliens in a different way. She led a group of raiders who attacked alien supply lines, using ships that barely held together. Her current ship was called the Wildfire. It had been a luxury passenger liner before the war, but now it was painted black and covered with weapons. The elegant dining rooms had been turned into barracks, and the swimming pool was now a missile storage bay. Target ahead, reported her gunner, Corporal Bei Jisoo, from his position at the ship's main weapon. Alien supply convoy, 3 cargo ships with 4 escort fighters. Minji studied the enemy ships through her scope. The aliens flew in perfect formation, exactly like their training manuals said they should. That would be their weakness. Attack. Pattern 7, she ordered. Hit the escorts first, then go for the cargo ships. The Wildfire burst from behind an asteroid, moving fast and low. Minji's pilots had learned to fly like Earth animals hunt, using surprise and speed instead of strength. The alien escorts tried to turn and face them, but they moved too slowly. Jisoo fired the main gun, and the lead alien fighter exploded in a ball of fire. The second fighter fired back, but Minji had already changed direction, spinning her ship, in a way that would have made passengers sick back when it carried tourists. Got him, Jisoo shouted, as the second escort died. The remaining 2 alien fighters tried to protect the cargo ships, but they were designed to fight enemies who followed rules. Minji's raiders did not follow any rules. They flew straight at the enemy, firing everything they had, then broke away at the last second. In 10 minutes, all the alien ships were destroyed. The Wildfire was damaged, with holes in its hull and smoke filling the corridors, but it could still fly. Load everything useful into our cargo bay, Minji ordered. Then we disappear before their reinforcements arrive. This same scene played out across the galaxy. Human raiders struck alien convoys, supply bases, and communication stations. They used captured alien ships when they could, or built their own from salvaged parts. Most importantly, they moved fast and never stayed in one place long. The aliens were not used to this kind of war. For thousands of years, they had fought battles where both sides lined up and fired at each other until one side surrendered. They did not know how to fight an enemy that appeared from nowhere, struck hard, and vanished. Back on Earth, Captain Otayuk looked at his new ship, the Defiance. It was the fastest vessel humans had ever built, designed for one purpose: to reach the galactic core and deliver the quantum disruptor. The ship was sleek and deadly, but everyone knew it was also a coffin. "How many crew do you need?" asked General Park. 12, Tayuk replied. "All volunteers, all unmarried, with no children." Within a day, he had 300 volunteers. He chose carefully the best pilot, the smartest engineer, the most skilled fighters. They all knew they were choosing to die for Earth. Dr. Nari supervised the loading of her terrible weapon into the Defiance's cargo bay. "Remember," she told Tayuk, "you have to get within 1,000 kilometers of the Nexus before you activate it. Any farther, and the effect will not spread properly." "Understood," Tayuk said. "How long do we have after activation?" "About 30 seconds before the cascade begins," Nari replied. "Then hyperspace collapses across half the galaxy." As the Defiance prepared to leave, news arrived from the outer colonies. Commander Co Minji's raiders had destroyed an entire alien fleet. Debo. Other human groups had captured an alien communication hub and were sending false orders to enemy fleets. The galaxy was learning that humans did not fight. the way civilized species were supposed to fight. They were learning that sometimes, uncivilized was exactly what the situation needed. Captain Otayuk watched the stars change color outside his ship's window. The Defiance had been traveling for 16 months, dodging alien patrols and jumping between hiding spots. Now, finally, they could see their target, the galactic core, where billions of stars crowded together in a bright spiral of light. "How close are we?" he asked his navigator, Lieutenant Park Hyan. "One day out," Captain Hyan replied, sweat running down his face despite the cool air. "But sir, there are alien ships everywhere, hundreds of them." Tayuk looked at the sensor screen. Red dots covered it like a disease. Each dot was an alien warship protecting the hyperspace nexus at the galaxy's heart. Getting through them would be impossible for any normal ship. But the Defiance was not normal. Dr. Yun-Ri had built special stealth systems into its hull. The ship could hide from most alien sensors, at least for a while. "All crew to battle stations," Tayuk ordered. "This is it." In the engine room, Chief Engineer Kim Dong-yoon watched his instruments with worried eyes. The quantum disruptor in the cargo bay was making the whole ship shake. Strange blue light leaked from the sealed doors, and the air tasted like metal. "Captain," he spoke into his radio, "the weapon is becoming unstable. We need to use it soon, or it might explode on its own." "How soon?" Tayuk asked. "Maybe 6 hours, maybe less." The Defiance moved slowly through the alien fleet, using the gravity of nearby stars to hide its movement. Alien ships passed close enough to touch, their crews never knowing that humanity's last hope was sliding past them in the darkness. Finally, they reached the Nexus. It was beautiful and terrifying, a swirling cloud of energy where hyperspace routes from across the galaxy came together. Ships entered and left the cloud constantly, traveling to distant worlds in seconds. 1,000 kilometers to target, reported HYEON. An alien patrol ship suddenly changed course toward them. Its sensors had detected something wrong. "They see us," warned Gunner Sergeant Lee Jiang from her weapons station. "All power to engines," Tayuk ordered. "Full speed ahead." The Defiance burst from its hiding place and raced toward the Nexus. Behind them, alarms began screaming across the alien fleet. Hundreds of ships turned to chase the small human vessel. Energy beams lit up space around them. The ship's hull glowed red from near misses. In the cargo bay, the quantum disruptor's humming grew louder and more dangerous. 500 kilometers, Hyan called out. An alien beam hit their left engine. The ship spun wildly, throwing the crew against the walls. Sparks flew from broken control panels, and the lights flickered. "We're losing power," Dong-yoon reported. "I can give you maybe 2 more minutes of full speed." "That's enough," Tayuk said calmly. 200 kilometers to target. More hits. The ship was falling apart around them, but it kept flying toward the swirling energy cloud ahead. 100 kilometers. Tayuk reached for the activation switch for Dr. Neris's weapon. "Send a message to Earth," he told his radio operator. "Tell them we opened the door." He pressed the switch. The quantum disruptor exploded into life, sending waves of energy that human eyes could not see, racing toward the hyperspace nexus. When the waves hit the swirling cloud, everything changed. The nexus began to collapse. Hyperspace. Routes that had existed for millions of years started breaking apart like old rope. The effect spread outward like ripples in a pond, moving faster than light itself. Ships caught in hyperspace, when the routes collapsed, found themselves trapped between dimensions. Some made it to safety, many did not. Across the galaxy, alien fleets that had been traveling between stars suddenly appeared in empty space, lost and unable to return home. The Defiance was destroyed 30 seconds after Tayuk activated the weapon, but by then it was too late to stop what they had started. On Earth, People watched their instruments as the cascade effect spread across the galaxy. Half of all hyperspace routes failed within 6 hours. The great alien empire that had ruled for thousands of years was suddenly cut into small pieces that could not talk to each other. Admiral Corvin Nex found his fleet trapped near a dead world at the edge of known space. His proud ships, designed to travel between galaxies, could now barely reach the next star system. For the first time in his long military career, he felt truly afraid. But he also felt something else: respect. "Open a communication channel to Earth," he ordered. President Kim Gi-won was surprised when the alien admiral appeared on his screen. "Your Captain Taiyuk fought with great honor," Corvin said simply. "His sacrifice has shown me that the Council was wrong about humans." "What do you mean?" Kim asked. "We tried to make every species in the galaxy the same," Corvin explained. "We thought that would bring peace. Instead, it made us weak and blind. You showed us that strength comes from being different, not from being the same." Over the following months, the galaxy changed completely. Worlds that had been under alien control for centuries rose up in rebellion, inspired by Earth's example. The Galactic Council fell apart as member species refused to obey orders from leaders who could no longer reach them. Ambassador Lee Hanna found herself at the center of something new, a reformed alliance where every species could be themselves. Humans, with their chaotic creativity and stubborn courage, became the peacekeepers and negotiators for this new galaxy. "We never wanted to rule anyone," Hanna explained to a gathering of alien representatives. "We just wanted to remain human." The galaxy had turned its back on Earth, but Earth had stood firm. Now, in standing firm, humanity had taught the galaxy a new way to live.